Hello everyone, I all hope you had very much of a quite live a beautiful day and also very much quite live a beautiful day and as well of a great day. As you can see guys, today's sky is quietly very much beautiful and also very much quietly greatly sunny and also quietly still very much quietly warm. Despite that guys, I'm very quietly grateful for your guys' support in you guys exactly sticking with me in my long journey and in everything else that I'm doing from YouTube and as well from TikTok and as well from Shorts and those of you who are also completely subscribing and those of you who are also completely subscribing and also following me from TikTok and also from YouTube. Your support quietly means the universe to me. So I'm very quietly thankful for you guys who are still sticking with me and also staying with me. Have a blessed day and a gratefully blessed weekend. I will see you tomorrow on our last day on a different time. Yes, on a very quietly on a different time. So let's get on to it. Oh, one more thing, guys. The gardening people are here, so you might actually be receiving loud noises on the actual background. So just to exactly keep informed. So let's get to it. On today's episode, we're to speak about the Fire Sisters, who are a very deadly, sinister, fiery group of dark, powerful, formidable witches who are very quietly unknown throughout sacred history for their they possess the great powers. They possess the great powers and abilities of manipulating fire and dark magic in its greatest, powerful, deadliest form ever known. And also, then they are very also quietly very ancient. They are also very quietly very ancient and very formidable dark witches who are quietly unknown throughout sacred history. There are ancient paintings and ancient carvings about the fire sisters in the ancient powerful temples and in ancient warring caves throughout the sacred great nations warring caves and hidden chambers about their stories and about their history, about how they give life to fire power and also to fire energy and also to fire magic as well, which they can also actually excuse me, which they can also actually manipulate to their own advantages, which makes them extremely powerful and also very quietly deadly and very quietly destructive. They possess a different destructive force of fire, dark magic, which is very resilient through their immortality and through their long gravity, which makes them very highly deadly and very highly terrifying destructive forces of evil. So let's get to it. Within the ancient times of the sacred world's greatest magical wars and powers, the Fire Sisters were quietly rumored to be present during those ancient times, manipulating the events from the behind the shadows, behind the scenes of the sacred magical wars and from the great sacred nations in order to controlling them so that they can actually benefit from them. Throughout the following ancient times, the Fire Sisters were also quietly rumored to have aided and assisted the original Lord of Magic with his sole goal and mission of extermination and align and also with his sole goal of extermination with the sole goal of exterminating and also as well of annihilating the supernaturals, aliens, superhumans, Nation hunters, and as well as the great generations of the superheroes that might quietly be born. Regardless of that, the five sisters believed in the original Lord of Magic's goal and soul mission, but they saw that his body was quietly highly dying and also was quietly highly dying from the infusion that he was able to exactly was quietly infusion was able to exactly get or he was able to exactly infuse himself with that energy which exactly showed the signs of his body deterioration exactly which quietly actually showed the body's greater deterioration of his immortality and his beauty and his beautiful personality and his beautiful face of his personality began to actually go back to elderly age in a very slower process as well, which started to show signs that his powers and his greater techniques are starting to fade in a very slower degenerative rate in a very quietly slower degenerative rate, which began a deteriorating process of his powers and of his long gravity as well in the process. Regardless of that, the Five Sisters exactly provided the original Lord of Magic with great information and with great power and with great forbidden fire techniques so that he can utilize them for his own forbidden power. In return, the original Lord of Magic would provide the Fire Sisters with great sacred dark knowledge of how to exactly wield and control fire, and how to exactly wield and control fire, which the Fire Sisters mark on a very quite of a sinister journey to the ancient caves where the sacred where the sacred where the sacred where the sacred fire founder where the sacred fire founder, who was the original sacred founder of all, who was also part of the other sacred founders of the sacred world, began the ancient fiery way of projecting fire power, and it's all of its secret nature and transformation, all of its secret nature transformation in its different destructive form. Regardless of that, the Five Sisters exactly went to discover the ancient fire cave where the original sacred fire founder was able to keep the secrets and all the forbidden techniques of controlling and manipulating fire energy and all of its powers in its greatest aspect. Regardless of that, the Fire Sisters utilized those secrets and those powers and those techniques and combined them and systematically merged them with their own powers. Despite that, they became powerful and very highly adaptable, granting them the power of shapeshifting. And the leader of the sisters granted the most powerful dramatical power of all powers, with the great power of shadow creation, using the forbidden technique of all shadow creation, of creating everything in a single dope of water, lightning, electricity, and earth and wood, and also in earth and wood and metal and light and shadow energy powers based on the abilities that she was able to exactly get. She became too powerful, and she was also granted the long ability of shape-shifting as well, which she was able to receive as well, with the shadowy power within her very body as well. Throughout the following centuries, the Fire Sisters remained in the shadows as they exactly operated within the shadows, but each member of the sisters decided it's best that they exactly manipulate the sacred great nations, leaders and council members and its operatives and its greater agents, and within the Four Nation Hunter homeland as well, in order for them to furthering their plan and their sole goal as well in the actual process. On the near end of the sacred civil wars, of the sacred world, one Fire Sister exactly took it upon herself to begin her sinister conspiracy, where she took control of Sacred Inner City, agents, known as the Agents of Secrets, where the leader of the Agents of Secrets, known as Longhand, exactly entrusted the Fire Sister to secretly manipulating the Inner King, to making sure that his entire realm of his city, which Inner City is a big city, more bigger and more greater, ruled by a superior, greater, powerful monarchy known as the Inner King. Despite that, the Fire Sister knew that Longhand will exactly doubtedly complete his sole activity and his goal, to making sure that the Agents of Secrecy and himself would continue to manipulating the Inner King to furthering their sole agenda and their plan in the progress. Without any other regards, the Fire Sister exactly disappeared from within the shadows after conspiring and secretly meeting with Longhand in order to make sure that the conspiracy remained a secretive and very much undisclosed conspiracy, to making sure that none of their forces know that they were all exactly communicating with each other. On the near end of the great sacred civil wars, the Five Sisters all exactly reconvene on an ancient, powerful, mythical fiery cave, where the cave itself was a red. It had red crystals and all of red energy. It possessed red energy and red minerals all around it. And the Five Sisters reconvene in a dark, shadowy astral projection of themselves, where they were able to exactly conjure astral projections, which were quietly shadowy astral projections of themselves as well in the mirror image, in order to conceal their identities and themselves. But the shadowy astral projections still represented them as themselves, as their true selves as well, despite their true appearance as well. Regardless of that, the leader of the Fire Sisters told the rest of her sisters that it's time for them to exactly lay low and control the other narrative spots of the other great sacred magical worlds and civilizations. While the original Lord of Magic began his sole plan, they must exactly maintain the facade and the operation in full discreet secrecy to making sure that nothing ever leads back to them and that their sole plan and their sole goal must begin taking place one way or another. The other sisters agreed that's exactly what they'll do as well. After the great meeting, they all exactly convened. The other fire sister exactly took it upon herself to go to the great clan, to go to the great clan, or known as the great nation empire, known as the great sacred great nation as the Wall Nation, in order to infiltrate it and begin to manipulating its leaders to further her own ulterior motive and secret agenda of her own planning as well. Regardless of that, she met up with the other four council members and leaders who were quietly able to exactly meet up with the fire sister on a hidden waterfall base cave, which presented a water statue, it had a hidden water statue, 2 or 3 water statues of a very very powerful water fairy, and also a very powerful water druid, and also of a very powerful water ancient dark monster, which was quietly unmentioned and unknown throughout 4 Nation Hunter history as well. Regardless of that, they were able to meet up about their plans and also about their goals when the members exactly reassured the Fire Sister that everything else would be going according to plan, the way it's intended to be, and that the conspiracy itself will never be revealed. That the manipulation throughout the other consoles of the wall consoles will exactly be able to do exactly as they instructed them to, despite that the leader still possesses more power and more authority, the authority will be less to be challenged. The Fire Sister seemed very much quietly, highly reassured as she told the councilmen that they must take a different approach and a different effective action, which won't result in them being spotted or being exposed. If one of them is exposed, they'll become a temporary loose end that must be effectively to be dealt with, one way or the other. And they all completely agreed on that as well. Despite that, they do share the Five Sisters' greater sentimentality, her greater opinion on becoming a loose end, and they agree that they will do whatever it takes to blocking any loose ends or anything that might come back to effectively destroy them or either bite them in the back. After that, the Five Sisters teleported herself away, and the others began creating and working on a plan that could actually enabling the conspiracy to take place on a near end as well. On the actual 10th of March, the Five Sisters all reconvene on a dark crystalline fiery cave in a dark shadowy astral projection on themselves in order to speak about the death of the original Lord of Magic, telling themselves that they will exactly take it upon themselves to mourn him and also to exactly mourn his death, but his goals and his sole mission will still continue as they exactly still remain through themselves as well. And his goals and his sole purpose has attracted many of our fellow followers and many of his also fellow followers, which means in other words that his goal must be completed. Now that the power vacuum has managed to take front on several months, has created more further destruction and more further turmoil within the Shadow Empire itself as well. Within the Shadow Empire itself as well, has created further chaos and destruction and disorder within the Shadow Empire itself. So it means that it's time for them to begin their goal and to facilitate its long-term plan as well. On the 27th, the leader of the Five Sisters went up to speak up with the new Lord of Magic known as Lord Jet, where Lord Jet exactly told the leader of the Five Sisters that they are very quietly pleased that the Five Sisters remain their associates and as well as their long-time allies, despite them sharing different goals and different missions. They do share common interests, which will exactly benefit them both. Both of them were able to exactly convene on an ancient different hideout, which was quietly hidden on an ancient forest, where Lord Jet exactly told the Fiery Sister that they do appreciate the Fiery Sister's support and as well as the investment in the goal that could exactly benefit them all very, very quietly, cruelty. And the Five Sisters agreed that they will take point on the mission and the rest of the operation. And and Lord Jet seemed very proud, very sadistically happy that the Fire Sister decided to remain their long-time allies and their long-time associate as well, regarding that they do share a common interest and a common goal as well. On the actual 13th of April, the leader of the Five Sisters was quietly able to be seen within the human cities, where she quietly able to meet up with their two great long time assassins, where she exactly told them that the mission is quietly about to go forth in hand. Despite that, she was quietly well aware that they were being watched by a superhero, by the great member of the Universal Heroes known as Werewolf Boy, who was able to exactly watch and monitor the meeting. And she told her two assassins that they must exactly deal with the problem right away in order to making sure that the balance of everything else is taking effective action without any further disturbance or further interference from any other side. And the two assassins exactly were able to realize that their leader was quietly telling the truth as they were being watched and monitored by Werewolf Boy, and she told them they must take care of the problem right away. After that, she disappeared when her two assassins exactly waged a battle with the hero himself as well. On the 25th of May, the leader of the Fire Sisters was quietly still hiding within the great weather nation, which is quietly ruled and isolated by lightning storms and waterfalls and all of that, which makes it the perfect place for her to actually to be hidden, and also to keeping the organization and the group of her sisters very well secretive and very well secretive, and also very quietly well secretive, and also very well quietly well secretive, and also keeping the organization of the new little magic well hidden as well. Despite that, she was able to exactly remain within the tallest tower of the entire village, able to exactly watch the rain itself raining, and she was able to exactly still remain within the tallest tower, and she was able to speak with the other member of the Fire Sisters, telling her that it's time for them to begin the new step of their planning right away. On the 19th of May, on the actual 19th of May, the leader of the Fire Sisters summoned the other members of the Fire Sisters, where they were all exactly actually summoned through the ancient monster statue's hands, where they were all exactly presented the shadowy astral projection to begin sealing the next powerful, beautiful, magical druid, sealing his powers inside the monster statue. And the leader of the Fiery Sisters exactly told the rest of the Fiery Sisters to concentrate their powers and their abilities without anything else. Otherwise, the monster statue's powers and abilities will be highly destroyed during the sealing of the ritual itself as well, as they all completely focus. Despite that, exactly them focusing, the Four Nation Hunter warriors were about to stumble upon the hideout, which is a very powerful sealed cave with many entrances through it. And the leader of the Fire Sisters told the other members of the Fire Sisters to keep the intruders and the enemies away from the ceiling enough for them to actually continue the sealing process without any other further disturbance. She took it upon herself to conjure a very powerful shadowy clone technique in order to make sure that the clones and the duplicates of the members would fight off against the Four Nation Hunter warriors, which it actually quietly paid off, because in doing so they were able to seal off the beautiful druid's magical powers and abilities inside the monster statue, and the monster statue's powers and abilities were able to grow immensely to its true fullest potential as well. And despite that, she told the two members that led the Four Nation Hunter warriors to keep them and to destroy them, and they are willing to hear the outcome and the battle of the reports of it. As she told the other newest member, who was quietly a boy, to take off to destroy and dispose the bodies of the clones who were quietly used as shapeshifting, who were quietly used to shapeshift the real members of the Fire Sisters, and to make sure that nothing ever traced back to them or either comes back to them. And they all agreed on that. After that, they all quietly dispersed with a shadowy astral projection of themselves, and they never quietly seen again. On the actual 27th 27th of June, the leader of the Fire Sisters, was quietly present within her hidden village, as she was able to use a forbidden powerful technique in order to make the rain continue to go on raining badly, and also manipulating lightning based powers to create lightning storms and all of that within the great big storm village that was quietly hidden and secluded in one of the great sacred nations of all time, until the other member of the Fire Sisters told her that they received word that the members of the United Heroes are hereby cleared of all the crimes against the attack of the Universal Council Supreme, against the attack of the Universal Council Supreme alien worlds and planets which they were able to attack due to them being influenced by the mind control of the Order of the Five and of the founders as well, were able to exactly use the members of the United Heroes to furthering their own sinister plans and their goals in the process as well. Despite that, the leader of the Fire Sister didn't seem quite disturbed or shocked that the members of the United Heroes would be cleared of their crime. Despite that, she took it upon herself not to be irritated about their crimes being cleared by the Universal Council, who was one of the most supreme councils of the entire galaxy. But either way, she exactly remained silent and focused on sensing and detecting powerful intruders who might enter the great nation of the storms within her own territory as well. On the 17th of July, the leader of the Fire Sisters exactly reconvene again with the members of the Fire Sisters again, this time on the hands of the monster statue, sealing the next creature's powers, which was a very powerful destructive warlock's powers, as they were all exactly seen with the astral projection. The newest member wanted to ask the leader of the Fire Sisters the goals of the group, and also the alliance, and also the new alliance with the new Lord of Magic and with the members of the Order of Power. What exactly is their sole purpose and their goals, with the goals of the organization and of the group's organization's plans? The leader of the Fire Sisters decided it's best to enlighten the newest member of the group, and exactly telling him exactly what the plans of the group, what the plans of the organizations are, that the two alliances of the group's organization's goals are, that might exactly help him understand exactly what was literally going on. Due to the fact in her explaining to the newest member of the organization's goals, the extraction of the beautiful destructive warlock's powers were literally fully extracted, due to the warlock completely dying, as in like he was completely literally dying. His powers were literally taken out and absorbed and extracted from him through the monster statue's powers, and his body was completely thrown to the ground, as is shown that he's completely dead and absorbed of all his magical powers and abilities in the process, due to the leader explaining during the sealing ritual taking place, while the being's powers and abilities were heavily being extracted to that as well. On the 16th of August, the leader of the Fire Sisters managed to reconvene with the members of the Fire Sisters on a different dark shadowy cave on the same positions with a shadowy astral projection on themselves, telling them that the universal heroes and the world heroes are becoming a threat to their plans, and that it's time for them to manipulate and control humanity through devious and powerful sinister events that could exactly alter the Sacred World's history forever. And she told the members it's time for them to get back to the soldier activity, and they all agreed on that as well. On the 20th of September, the leader of the Fire Sisters was quietly, and the rest of the other members were summoned through a video audience through one of the super villain criminal operatives known as Wooden Man, was able to tell the Fire Sisters that everything else is ready to go according to plan and everything else is set into motion. All they need is the council and the board and the rest of the board of directors true approval and the true great approval, and as well as the great annotance to proceed with the operation. The other Five Sisters exactly told the operative that they must proceed according with the plan and nothing else must interrupt it. And the leader exactly stated that this debacle will pay off, and it must pay off in a very, very destructive way, which could benefit them in very, 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 very great heights to furthering the operation of their plan. And Wooderman agreed, and that is exactly what will happen as well. On the on the actual on the actual on the actual 22 on the actual 22 of on the actual 20 on the actual 22 of September, the leader of the Fire Sisters was literally able to exactly remain within the tallest tower of the great storm village, where they knew great annoyance, where they knew great annoyant ally and secretive collaborator was able to exactly to present himself within the shadows of the tower, where the other Fire Sister exactly told her that he has completely arrived. She was able to tell the masked individual that the plans and preparations are set the way they're supposed to be, and that the alliance with the members of the Order of Power are beginning to taking place, and that the finalization of the goal itself will begin to actually taking very much greater place in its true greater heights. The masked individual told the leader of the Fire Sisters not to underestimate the universal hero's abilities in thwarting the operation and their long-term plans and their goals in a process. They pose too much of a greater threat and a greater obstacle for them not to take them lightly, and it would be wise to not to repeat the same failings as the original Lord of Magic actually did in taking the threat very quietly, lightly, which only resulted into his ultimate downfall of his death, as the masked individual man began to telling the leader of the Fire Sister, and the Fire Sister began to understood the masked man, as the other Fire Sister exactly began to reassure the masked man that they won't be taken down by a couple of great super children who they don't quite exactly underestimate, and it'll be quite unwise not to underestimate the leader's powers, and the leader's powers and abilities as well will also be resulting in a very devastating attack. Regardless of that, the Iron Mask Man exactly laughed and exactly told the two Fire Sisters that the operation will begin taking place and that everything else will be back to where it's supposed to be, and the reality of the sacred world will flourish the way it was intended to be, without any further due reality or due powers, and that the morality of the goal will be set the way it's meant, will be set the way it was planned and the way it was meant to be. He disappeared within the tower's shadows and was never quietly seen again. The other Fire Sisters was able to tell that the leader of the Fire Sisters seemed a bit quietly unpleasant to what the mask collaborator exactly said, and she was able to tell her if she was quietly okay. On the 26th of October, the leader of the Fire Sisters and the rest of our forces and the rest of our destructive forces began taking the missions to themselves in order to begin destroying many vast alien worlds and civilizations, creating chaos and carnage upon its wake by demonstrating their power and their full ability, which they were able to do so. The great Four-Nation Hunters of the Intergalactic Coalition were forced to exactly intervene to stopping the terrifying threat. When they fought against the threat, the leader of the Fire Sisters remained in the shadows of the forest of the alien forest and exactly watched as her forces began taking effective action in dealing with the Four-Nation Hunters. Due to that, she disappeared within the attack, and the rest of her forces decided to do the exact same thing. The Four-Nation Hunters realized that they're dealing with something very powerful, very, very ancient, and very, very destructive, which is very quietly, highly unlikely that they were never able to encounter something like this during the ancient times as well. On the 8th of November, the leader of the Fire Sisters exactly called in a meeting with the members of the Fire Sisters on a different shadowy cave, where they all exactly presented themselves in the shadowy astral projection, and she was able to tell them that the universal magic heroes and universal magic girl must be stopped in whatever it is that they're doing, and they must exactly halt their goals in liberating many worlds and many planets in the process, which is crucial for their plan to beginning taking place. The other member told the leader that she'll take it upon herself to stopping the universal magic heroes and the universal magical from proceeding with the plan and with the goal and with these obstacles as well from itself. And the leader of the Fire Sisters exactly kept her eye on the newest member, realizing that he might exactly possess the most powers and the most terrifying abilities, against, despite the other members possessing all terrifying hidden talents and hidden powers and abilities as well. And she says that it's best that he will take charge of the operation. On the actual great 9th of December, the leader of the Fire Sisters remained on top of the hand of the tower, where she told the two members of the Fire Sisters to retreat effective immediately, because they have to proceed with the next step of the sealing of the ritual, and that the damage of the battle has already taken its place, which served its purpose for their goals and for their future plans as well. Despite that, the two members were able to exactly read her psychically, and they were able to exactly pick up her warning, and they decided that it's time for them to disperse and also to retreat effective immediately as well. On the 11th of January, the leader of the Fire Sisters and the rest of the other members of the Fire Sisters began sealing the next magical creature's powers, known as the Water Fairy's powers, inside the monster statue, and they were all exactly present within that monster statue's hands within the shadowy astral projection, where she told them that they all exactly did a very good job and a very quiet of a great job. Now that the reputations of the group has already begun taking its hold throughout the entire sacred worlds, throughout the entire sacred worlds, great nations, and the known worlds, and also the great alien worlds, which means that it's time for them to speed up the process of their long-term plan and of their goals as well. On the 13th of February, the leader of the Fire Sisters was able to exactly meet up with a long-term friend within the tower seats, as they were all able exactly sitting within the tower seats, and a purple crystal light was quietly on top. The purple crystal that was quietly on top of the three members, as the longtime friend exactly told them that they're very happy how far they managed to exactly come with the goals of the group, and as well with the organization, and was able to telling them he's willing to provide them any support and any help he can exactly provide them. And the two Fire Sisters exactly seemed very happy and exactly told the longtime friend that they're very glad to receiving his help and also his support as well, which is very crucial for them to further their goal and their plan as well in the long-term process as well. On the actual 6th of March, on the actual 6th of no, on the actual 6th of February, the leader of the Fiery Sisters was able to conduct a very powerful, dangerous technique within the great storm village, which was able to utilize the power of lightning and also rain to conduct a very serious, deadly experiment in order to see what would exactly take place. On the 8th of March, the leader of the Fiery Sisters and the rest of the other members were all exactly seen sealing the next dark powers and abilities of the great sand druid inside the monster statue, as they were all exactly standing on the monster's hands with their shadowy astral projections of themselves as well, despite that they were all exactly still focusing their attentions and their true intentions and their abilities on sealing the next magical powerful creature's abilities inside the monster statue's hands as well. The magical creature's powers inside the monster statue's mouth as well, which they were proceeding with the ritual as well itself. On the 10th of April, the leader of the Monster Sisters began summoning the other members through the same astral projection forms of the shadowy astral projection forms, where they all exactly met up on the shadowy cave, where she told them that now it's time for them to actually finish what they started right away, and that the secret collaborator has agreed to dispatch another new member on the group, which the new member's shadowy astral projection began showing up of another different masked individual who was very quietly funny and also very quietly kind and very quietly happy and kind as well, presented himself and exactly told the other members that he's very happy to become part of the group and as well become part of the group and of the organization, and exactly reassured the members that he'll do whatever he takes to contribute to the goals of the organization and to the goals of the organization's plans and also plans as well in the process. The other members also seemed very skeptical of the new member, Despite that, the leader of the group reassured the rest of the other members that the newest member will definitely exactly contribute to the group's organization's plans and goals in the far future of the conflict against the Universal Heroes as well. On the actual 13th of May, the leader of the Fire Sister met up with the newest member within the shadowy of the towers, and exactly told the newest member that his seat within the organization has been served up well due to the long-time connection to the longest greatest friend, was able to see that his abilities are quite good for the organization. And the newest member exactly told the leader of the Fire Sister that he's dedicated to the organization's goals, and that he's willing to make sure that they all bear fruit, and that he was able to discover unlimited tapped power from a different dark, sinister, dark dimension that possesses greater power within it. And he's willing to take that trip and that journey to himself if he has to. The other member of the Fire Sister told the newest member, who was quietly a masked individual, that they'll exactly dispatch him a partner to exactly help him and assist him with the journey of obtaining such forbidden power as well. The new masked man exactly told the two members of the Fire Sister do not to underestimate Universal Magic Girl. She's too powerful and too deadly not to be taken lightly. The leader of the Fire Sister exactly told the new masked man and a new member of the Fire Sister that they are well aware of Universal Magic Girl's limitations and powers, which could very much quietly serve a very crucial role to their mutual goals, and they could be used as pawns to furthering our future collaboration plans. And she's got an idea how to turn the tables to that as well. On the actual 12th of May, the leader of the Fire Sisters reconvened with the dark magic users such as the Dark Druids, the Dark Witches, and the Dark Faithful on an ancient dark crystal cave, which had dark and powerful dark crystal diamonds and minerals within it. An ancient powerful statue of a powerful godlike monster, the creature was also at the center of the cave, and another ancient powerful monster statue, which was quietly fat and big, and also another ancient vampire shadowy statue was also on the other side of the cave as well. Despite that, the leader of the Fire Sisters told the dark magic users it's time for them to begin their mutual purpose into removing the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magic Girl out of the way permanently, which could pave a way for them to become the sole rulers of the entire sacred magic universe. And the dark magic users agreed that that is exactly what they'll do if they have to. On the 20th of June, the members of the Fire Sisters were all in a video audience when one of the operatives known as the Great Fall Man brought about himself an ancient black suitcase, which he presented a powerful red crystal, as he told the members of the Fiery Sisters that this crystal will exactly help them with a mutual goal and with a mutual understanding as well. On the 12th of July, the shadowy astral projection of the Fire Sisters, the leader shadowy astral projection of the Fire Sisters began exactly showing itself up through the ancient caves as all the other members of the Fire Sisters shadowy projections began presenting themselves, and the leader of the Fire Sisters began telling the members that it's time for them to proceed with the sole activity of their goal, and it's time to speed up the process of the operation. Time to manipulate humanity and the alien races and the superhuman races to fight a war against themselves, which could benefit them very crucially. On the 13th of August, the leader of the Fire Sisters met up with the members of the Order of Power, which were quietly founded and led by Lord Jet, who is the new Lord of Magic, on an ancient dark crystal temple, which was quietly in a hidden dark sacred great nation, and hidden dark sacred great nation's territories, where she told the members of the Order of the Twelve that the operation and that the successful plans of the members, the organization's goals of the Order of Power are ready to proceed according to plan, the way it's supposed to be. Lord Judge exactly told the newest associate that everything else is ready to proceed the way it's supposed to be. Now it's time for phase 2 to be heavily to initiate as well. Despite this, guys, the Fiery Sisters are very a powerful, ancient, sinister group of dark, formidable witches who are very skillful, who are very quietly, who are very gratefully, quietly skillful in teleportation, with the power of teleportation, the power of manipulating fire, energy, creating fireballs and fire dragons and fire monsters at will, with the power of summoning, with the power of great summoning and the power of great convergence, the power of sealing creatures and monsters, and the power of resurrection, and also with the power with the great power of mind control, telepathic readings, psychic manipulations and readings as well, power of conjuring a shadowy astral projection of themselves as well, and also with the power of converging energy with a power as well, creating dark magical, powerful magical orbs, which they can exactly do as well, reading minds and detecting with the great power of sensory perception, and also with the great power of sensory perception and detecting magical creatures and powerful things from a far greater distance. The leader of the Fiery Sisters is one of the most powerful leaders of all. She possesses the most devastating and powerful forbidden techniques that were never quietly seen or never quietly heard of. The power of greater repulsion, the power of greater magnetic repulsion pull, and the power of possessing tremendous life force, and the power of utilizing nature powers and all creation techniques, shadow powers and light energy powers, and also manipulating nature energy, lightning, electricity, fire, water, earth, resurrection, summoning powerful, dangerous creatures and animals and monsters in order to protect her. And also she has a group known as the death shadow, which are powerful reincarnated Phoenician hunters who are extremely powerful and extremely immortal and very devastating Phoenician hunters who possess deadly and terrifying abilities and powers unknown, who protect the leader of the Fire Sisters and the rest of the members. Very devastating. Despite that, the members of the Fire Sisters are heavily equipped with immortality. All members are heavily equipped with powers of greater immortality. Some possess devastating powers, others possess lesser greater powers and abilities, while the leader possesses extreme great 12 level greater immortal powers and long gravity immortal powers as well. They are very shadowy, sinister group of dark fiery witches who are very good in manipulating fire powers and fire energy at will, very destructive and very highly intelligent, 12 level intellect, skillful in swordsmanship, hand-to-hand combat, and as well in marksmanship, with the power of stealth, disappearing, reappearing at will, since they can exactly do that, and they all can manipulate the basic powers of elemental energies at will, which they can precisely exactly do that as well. They are very powerful, sinister, ancient group. The Fiery Sisters are an ancient, powerful, devastating group of fire witches who are quietly unknown in sacred history, and as well throughout sacred magic history, and as well throughout in Phoenician hunter history as well, which are very quietly devastating and very dangerous as well. They are so ancient, they are so very quietly ancient, as there are ancient powerful paintings about them, giving life to fire power and giving life to fire power, and as well to fire energy. The great ancestral progenitor is the sacred fire, is the great sacred founder, the great sacred fire founder, who was known to possess the most devastating, terrifying abilities of manipulating fire power and fire energy at will, which resulted in his descendants becoming the most powerful and one of the most devastating of all. And his descendants are the Fire Sisters, and as well as the Fire witches who are also very quietly, uniquely skillful in fire energy. Many of his descendants, such as the fire druids, the fire warlocks, the fire warlord, fire commander, shadow empire, shadow fire commander, shadow fire warlord commander, who is a hybrid, who is quietly a hybrid of the greater species, also is very powerful as well. They are also very quietly powerful as well, despite that his descendants are very powerful, very great, very, very strong, extremely immortal, highly reluctant, and highly persistent as well. Very ancient and very, very devastating. They all possess the unique ability of manipulating fire, power, and fire energy as well. Due to this, the Fire Sisters exactly use their reputation in maintaining, in maintaining the individual bases of operation, such as the central headquarters, which the leader of the Fire Sisters, is able to exactly rule the entire Storm Village, which keeps the group of the Fire Sisters organization quietly well hidden, and the rest of the existence well hidden, due to them being in an isolated due to them actually being precisely in an isolated nation which exactly conceals the entire existence of the organization of the group, which they use it to their advantage as well. They are very quietly grouped, super strategist, super tactician, knowing very well to form powerful, formidable alliances with the members of the Order of Power and with the leader and founder of the organization itself, known as the new Lord of Magic, known as Lord Jet. The members of the Fire Sisters know very well to respect the original Lord of Magic. They held great respect for him, believed in his goals and his sole mission, and are willing to see through the end in order to furthering their own goals and their own plans in the process. Very, very ruthless members, and the leader is one of the most powerful of all members, is one of the most powerful members, one of the most powerful members of the Five Sisters, who is rumored to be known that she is very dangerous and very deadly. Her strategy astral projection shows that she's very powerful and very deadly, and each members of the Five Sisters possess and wield an ancient wooden fiery staff which gives them the ability to conjure powerful purple or red lightning at will, which exactly gives them the power to conjure their powers and the magical powers and abilities at will as well. Despite that, they're very quietly good in forming formidable super alliances with one of the most dangerous, super deadly criminals and one of the most deadly, super dangerous criminals and warlocks as well. They have powerful hidden agents and powerful hidden sleeper agents within the great sacred nations, and they use them as well in order to further their plan. They highly resourceful, possess greater influence, hidden greater connections within the sacred world's greater connections, and they know that the universal heroes pose a greater threat to their own plans and to their own goals, as they learned not to underestimate them and never to take them lightly ever again. And they know never to repeat their failings or their mistakes ever again, since their top competitors have been stating that the universal hero's abilities in taking out their plans has never been going very quietly well. The leader of the Fire Sisters quietly grew fond and fascinated of Universal Magic Girl, as she quietly sees her former self within her, and she takes upon herself not to kill her, rather to use the universal magic heroes to furthering their sinister plans and goals. She's very crafty, very ruthless, and very powerful. The leader herself has the power of shapeshifting and the power of transformation, which she can transform her body and also literally transferring her subconscious and transferring her true subconscious self to a different body in order to fight with different enemies and opponents in a different way, which also makes her very dangerous and very powerful. She's known to be highly respectful of power, and she respects power, and she decided to use the forbidden powers and techniques that the rest of her sisters and the rest of the newest members have already developed in order to further their plans and their goals. They are all powerful members, very, very sinister criminals. Some members of the Fire Sisters are all new members, and other members of the Fire Sisters are all original members. Some are quietly running away from the sacred warring nations. Some come from the sacred magic universe, others from different alien worlds and different great nation colonies and cities, but they all have different terrifying abilities and powers, which makes them exceptionally dangerous. According to the Four Nation Hunters, some of the sacred world's dangerous supernatural criminals are still wanted, and there are thousands and many of them that are still wanted. But despite that, The Fire Sisters' newest members and group know very well that they are still wanted by the Four Nation Hunters Authority, and it said it's best to use that in order to cover up their tracks and to operate from the shadows of the Sacred Wall, which in doing so provides them the power and the ability to influence and manipulate the great sacred nations of the Sacred Wall and of the rest of the other alien worlds in the process. The leader of the Fire Sisters and the rest of the members literally dislike the Four Nation Hunters. They hate them and they don't exactly like them. But regardless of that, they do form alliances with another organization, such as the Vampire Cell, in order to aiding the vampires with their respective goals and their mission, and also aiding the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders and the Dark Empire warlords and commanders on their respective goals and mission, which in theory will let them benefit to furthering their goals and their plans in the far future. Well, that's it for you guys. That's it for today's guys episode. I all hope you have a wonderful, great blessed day and take care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow on Friday and have a great day and have a great day indeed. And enjoy yourself and also take care of yourself as well. Today's episode was about the Fire Sisters. So you'll actually receive it today and you'll actually receive the download today and the rest of its episode today as well. So take care of yourself and also have a blessed day and a great day indeed. See you tomorrow on our last day on Friday. And as well, take care of yourself, guys. Appreciate your support. Still stay safe and have a blessed, great day. And may God bless you and protect you all. And stay happy and stay well. Love you all and love you all. Take care. Have fun.